All right, guys, quick update on the Ecodiesel JL. One of the problems with being one of the first people to own one of these is that I'm probably going to come across some hurdles or challenges along the way trying to make certain things work for modifications. And luck would have it, I've come across my first issue. Now, I've been kind of talking to you guys a bit about what suspension that I'm going to be using, and I did buy a Teraflex kit for it, and I ordered this back in February, long before the Ecodiesel arrived for me, and only very few had actually arrived for anybody that ordered them. So I kind of made some assumptions on what would work and what wouldn't work. So this is what I picked up. So I went with the Teraflex suspension, and I've kind of showed you guys this a little bit in some previous videos, but I also went with the Falcon shocks. Now these are the Falcon 3.3 shocks with a reservoir attached to them. So the reservoir helps keep the shock fluid cooler. It allows for, just a better ride, and as well they have these adjusters on them that allow me to set either a firm or soft or custom ride depending on whether I'm on-road or off-road or just what my preference is. And as part of this, now I gotta say, now I have to say that Falcon and Teraflex, their packaging is awesome. This is some of the best packaged off-road parts that I've ever ordered. Everything is really well packaged, labeled, the instructions are great, and the installation of these are fairly straightforward in it's supposed to take maybe like 30 minutes or so. And so I started looking at the installation, and I was checking out forum posts and seeing what other people are doing. But on step 2 here, you're supposed to trim the inner fender liner to allow for this reservoir, this guy, to go backwards and in through the fender liner, and that's basically how they're installed. And the reason why this is set up like this is that, well, you don't have any hoses or anything like that going to your remote reservoir, which are, things that can leak and whatnot, and it keeps it clearanced and out of the way that it's mounted, so that if you have larger tires, they're not gonna, interfere and hit your suspension. And so I was trying to see if anybody else had worked with these at all and tried to install them and came across a problem. And I'm going to show you, because some of the things that I really want to be focusing on is I want to be showing you guys any differences or challenges or things to be looking out for if you're buying an Ecodiesel JL Wrangler. So let me pull the JL over and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, because on the passenger side there is an interference issue with that reservoir. Just love the proximity entry and keyless start on the JL that I got. No more having to fish keys out of my pocket. Whew, it's warm. 24 degrees here. That's Celsius, by the way. All right, so I'm going to show you guys just what I'm talking about. So on the passenger side, it's not a problem on the driver's side, but it's on the passenger side. So in the fender well, right here, right about here, we're supposed to cut a hole. So the shocks, if you pull this back, you can kind of see it, but the shock tower is here, the OEM shocks are here, and if you pull all this back, you can see the top of the shock up there. Now, if we grab one of these, you can kind of get an idea of how that's supposed to mount. Pull one of these out of here. So this is the passenger side. We're gonna leave it in the plastic for now. And looking at it, you can kind of get an idea of, let's see if I can shove her in here. So that's, essentially kind of gives you an idea of how that's supposed to sit. Now you can see that it's hitting the fender liner here. Now the problem is When I pulled the fender liner back, I was wondering if there would be anything behind here based on what I had seen on the forums. And on the diesel, Jeep, as you can see here, on the diesel, Jeep has a tray for the secondary battery. And so this is the engine start stop battery, and probably does some other things that I don't know about yet, but there's a tray right here. So if we were to cut a hole in it, there's no room, or not enough room, for the bypass on that shock to go through here without hitting that. And you need about 8 inches from the top of the bolt up here on the shock to the end of the reservoir. And there's about 6.5-ish inches only. So there's about 1.5 inches of clearance that is not available for that shock. So long story short is these Falcon shocks, any of the 3 series shocks with the reservoir, are not going to work on the Ecodiesel. Now this isn't really the fault of Teraflex or Falcon. I ordered these ahead of time, thinking, okay, well, the 4-door is going to be fine, should be okay. But there may be some differences with the Ecodiesel. And unfortunately, we've come across one of those. So I talked to Teraflex earlier. They are working on a solution. I don't know if they're going to redesign that to have more clearance to fit the battery box, or maybe they'll come up with some sort of relocation kit. This time I'm not sure. I'm just waiting to see what their engineering does, but I know they will put out something that is, you know, quality like everything else. In the meantime, we're going to get the monotube Falcon 2.1 shocks, which don't have the reservoir, and we'll install those in the front, and we'll use those in the meantime while Teraflex figures out a solution. So that's just part of being an early adopter, one of the first to get one of the Ecodiesels. And you know, great parts, great quality, great instructions, everything like that. So this isn't really Teraflex's fault. I ordered this before, you know, they basically validated that it works on the Ecodiesel. Just one of those things. So part of this whole adventure is keeping you guys in the loop with what works and what doesn't. And I'm actually going to be coming out with, I don't know, I'm just waiting to shoot it, but some other things that I found with the Ecodiesel that you guys should know before buying one as well. The next video is going to be my first mod that I've doing or have done to it. And then we're going to be going off-roading shortly. But just a quick vlog update for you guys on compatible parts that I've found that aren't compatible with the Ecodiesel. Now, if I had a shock that had a remote reservoir, I could mount that somewhere else, but the Falcons are designed like that, and they're designed like that for a reason, and they're just not going to work. So we're going to come up with the solution of putting the 2.1 monotubes in for now, and I'm sure, I can't wait actually to see what Teraflex puts out to fix this, and I'm sure we'll have it as soon as it's available. All right, with that said, if you enjoyed this video, guys, leave a like. I'll see you guys very soon in the next upload.